lo and behold, I think it was on Thursday. Was it Thursday after? No, it was on 9/11. It's on 9/11. They announce another Arab country that is now going to be normalizing relations with Israel. This is Mike Pence on 9/11. And just hold on to your Jim Jams here, folks, and especially you, Spam Houston. Get those blood pressure pills, because this is just going to send your jimmies to the fucking moon. Here we go.
Mike, please.
Mr. President, I can think of no more fitting tribute to the heroes that were forged on this day 19 years ago, and all the heroes that were forged on battlefields ever since, than to see this peace agreement announced today. And Mr. President, you said from early on that we could stand with Israel and we could stand for peace. Your very first foreign trip was to the Arab world to reach out, to create new alliances. You affirmed our support for Israel when you moved the American embassy to Jerusalem. And the strength with which you have approached this has made now this second historic peace agreement possible.
I mean, there's a lot to unpack here, isn't there, James? I mean,
that's yeah. I mean, on its face, that's like revolting.
Yes,
to hear that, like, as especially, I don't know who approved that, signed off on that line about this being a great tribute to the heroes of 9/11. But yeah, I mean, that's just. And not to like do again like the Rachel Maddow MSNBC, but it's just sickening to hear people, Americans, talked about like, yes, all of your sacrifice, all that death, really all of that was in service of this peace deal. Yeah,
I'm glad that he did it because it lays it very clear for people to hear. I mean, it's like. When we say that, don't join the military because you're not actually fighting for your freedom, you're not actually fighting for anyone's liberty, you're fighting literally a war for Israel. Pence just said it right there.
We have no ambition in Iraq except to remove a threat and restore control of that country to its own people. To all the men and women of the United States Armed Forces now in the Middle East, the peace of a troubled world and the hopes of an oppressed people now depend on you.
I mean, it's not just hyperbole. It's not just something that we say. It's not just, white nationalist propaganda. He just said it. All the deaths, all the sacrifices on the battlefield have been for this. Because we have to, and again, we talked about this on the Midway show, peace in the Middle East is defined as Israel getting everything that it wants. And if you're against that, you're against peace, you are anti-normalization, and you're anti-Semitic.
Our nation enters this conflict reluctantly, yet our purpose is sure. The people of the United States and our friends and allies will not live at the mercy of an outlaw regime that threatens the peace with weapons of mass murder.
And he even says, he sort of gives you an alternative at the very beginning. He says, Mr. President, you said early on in your administration that we're going to stand for Israel and we're going to stand for peace. And then he pivots to like the next bullet point on his little agenda. But what's left in the gap there, what's left in between the lines is, what is the alternative, right? If you don't stand up for Israel, then you're standing against peace. Give Israel what it wants, or you're going to make war. This is something that they've done for a long time. And then he says in the middle of this thing, when he goes past the tribute to the heroes of 9/11 and all this other stuff, which Israel did, like, let's be honest, everybody understands that's the most insane aspect of this.
So I got a quick and fun, lighthearted question for you, Charlie. So I know you gave a speech in Jerusalem earlier this year.
Yes, I did.
Were there any like awesome, fun dance parties that you guys had afterwards? Because I heard that Israelis are some of the best dancers in the world. I mean, if you guys don't believe me, just Google dancing Israelis. It's insane how good their dance moves are. Would you agree or disagree with that?
Israel's a beautiful country, a great country, too.
It is. They're our greatest ally.
Correct.